guys, what's up and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today's video is going to be how to prepare for your first period, where I'm basically going to be sharing with you guys tips and tricks to not feel scared when you get your first period and just to feel prepared when you get your first period. So if you didn't know, this video is being uploaded on the 1-year anniversary of me having periods. So November 6, 2021 is a year later from November 6, 2020, which is the date of when I got my first period. So I've had periods for a year now, and all I can say is I really wish I enjoyed the time before I got periods a lot more than I actually did. I was actually pretty prepared for my first period, but I do know that there are a lot of other things that I could have done to help myself prepare for it even more. And so in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys 8 tips to prepare for your first period. And some of the tips are going to be tips that I actually followed and did before I got my first period, and they were really helpful. And some of these are tips that I didn't do, but I honestly wish I did to prepare for my first period, because honestly, it's such a huge change in anyone who gets periods in their life, physically and emotionally, and so it's really important to prepare for that time. So if you clicked on this video, I'm so proud of you, because it shows that you really want to educate yourself and prepare yourself before you get your first period. I also thought that it would be kind of funny to upload this video on the 1-year anniversary of me getting my first period, because it's like a first period related video, and so it's kind of like themed, and it's also kind of just to celebrate me having periods for a year, and now to help anyone who hasn't yet gotten their period prepare for their first period. And so yeah, before we get into this video, please like this video and comment down below while you're here, and also please subscribe to my YouTube channel for more period related content, because if you didn't know, I do literally so many other period related videos, and I will link some down below that I think you might like, because a lot of them I think can help someone who hasn't yet gotten their first period, like to help them prepare, not just this video. So yeah, if you're interested in lots of period content, then subscribe to me. That would really mean a lot to me too. And yeah, I do not want to talk anymore. I want to give you guys some tips and tricks on how to prepare for your first ever period, so let's get into the video. So I actually have my computer right here because I wrote down the tips that I want to share with you guys in this video so that I don't forget all of them. So here we go, let's get into the first tip. This first tip might seem really basic, and I like half did this first tip, but I also didn't really do this first tip. And this first tip is to have all the supplies that you will need when you start menstruating. And the reason why I'm saying I didn't do all of this is because like I had the pads, my mom had pads waiting and like ready for my first period. I had like those supplies, like the period hygiene supplies, but I'm talking about like all the supplies that you will need on your period. I would even recommend actually putting together a whole first period survival kit. I have actually done a video like a few months ago on what to put in a first period survival kit, like how to make it. I will link that video right here, but basically the basic supplies that you should have on hand to prepare for your first period are, yes, pads. Honestly, do not rely on like just having tampons in your house, because you might not feel comfortable using tampons your first time, so make sure to have pads, all kinds of pads, overnight pads for like heavier flow, and then panty liners for if flow is like really light, and then just regular size pads. I would also recommend having a heating pad or some sort of like heating device on hand of some sort to relieve any period pain that you might get on your first period. And I would also recommend like stocking up on some dark chocolate, because if you didn't know, dark chocolate has actually been proven to really help boost your mood during your period and help with cramps during your period. And so on your first period, you might like really just want some comfort. So make sure to have some sweets and especially dark chocolate on hand to eat. Oh yeah, and I would also recommend getting a lot of black pants and black underwear. Like if you have not yet gotten your period, you really just like want to prepare by like getting supplies, I would highly recommend getting like the underwear you're going to wear on your period, because personally for me, I only wear black underwear when I'm on my period, and I also only wear like red or like black pants, so make sure to stock up on those. My second tip to prepare for your first period, and this is honestly such an important one, is to be educated. Educate yourself on periods, on everything to do with periods, on ovulation, on PMS, on the actual period, and what is happening in your body like during each stage, because it's not just the bleeding. Like there's a lot of steps that come before the bleeding to make the bleeding happen, so it's really important to educate yourself on like a first period, like your whole reproductive cycle. Like honestly, one of the things I advocate for is more education on periods, and like more teaching about periods, and just like more access to period knowledge, because I feel like it's something that's just so shunned. And so many people, when they first get their period, it's like they just feel alone and like they don't know what to expect. So educating yourself on what is going on in your body to make yourself have this period, it's a really important thing to do. I will link down below some resources that will help explain what is going on in your body to allow yourself to menstruate, to have your first period, and I'm not going to go all into it, but basically when you get your period, it is a sign that you can reproduce, and it is a sign that you are reproductively healthy. As I said, I do so many other period videos, so another way that you can really educate yourself is by watching some of my period videos, because I honestly think that they can really help to prepare you for your first period, help you know more of like what's going on in your body during your first period. I also actually did a whole video on PMS, all about PMS, what to expect when you start PMSing. I will link that video right here, and I'm not going to go too much into it right now because I covered it all in that video, but it's like just so important, because PMS is a part of your cycle. It comes right before you get your period, usually for most people. It's so important to educate yourself and to know what's going on in your body, because then you won't feel as scared. This is something that I personally did, and it really helped helped me because like I knew what was going on in my body when I got my first period. My third tip, and this is a huge one, and this is one that I honestly didn't do that much, and that is to learn how to use pads, learn how to use tampons, and learn how to take pain medication. Because honestly, I did this like a little bit, like I kind of like practiced like with a pad, but like when I got my first period, I didn't really like know what to do, like to put the pad on. And if you like really want to wear tampons, a lot of people who menstruate in your family wear tampons, like you kind of want to just experiment with tampons. Do it before you get your first period. Like literally there's no harm in just practicing, even if you're not bleeding. Like put the pad on your underwear, like actually practice putting it on underwear, actually practice using a tampon if that's something that you want to do. And also something that I included like in this tip is to practice taking pain medication. If it is okay with your parent or guardian, if you are under 18, make sure that they approve of it and that like they dole out the medication for you. That's just for your medical safety. You can like walk through it with a parent or guardian, like really learn how to take it so that you know how to take it when you start getting like period cramps and period back pain and just like all the period pain in general. It's really important to like know what to do when that happens. Like even learn how to like turn on your heating pad. Like just know everything that you're gonna have to do when you get your first period, because like honestly sometimes natural remedies just really don't help. I personally take Tylenol and Motrin almost every time I'm on my period just to like minimize all the period pain in general. But as I said, please check with a parent or guardian before like doing this and like learning how to take it. You can even look up online how to take it, but make sure that you're taking the right dose that is right for your height and your weight and just like yourself in general. And I would really recommend talking to your doctor or your parent or guardian before like actually learning how to take medication, because they can really help walk you through the whole process of it. But yeah, this is something that I didn't really do, and like honestly thinking about it, this tip would have helped me so much to prepare for my first ever period. So honestly, please do this because it's really gonna help you prepare so that you're not like as scared and like you know what to expect when you get your first period, like what you're gonna have to do. My fourth tip for you guys, and this is honestly one that I really didn't follow, but like if I could go back to myself before I got my first period, I would really tell myself to not expect anything. Do not expect anything. Like when I got my first period, for example, I thought it was gonna be just like regular every single month. I thought it was gonna be like dark red blood just coming out of me every single month, every 28 days, which is like an average cycle once your cycles get regular. I thought it was gonna be like so seamless and I'd like have my period for like 5 days. I just had like a whole fantasy of like what my period would be like, and I honestly feel like it made me even more scared than I would have been if I had known to not expect anything. Because honestly, if I'm being 100% honest, the first even like 5 years of having periods, it's like so irregular, it's so like crazy and all over the place, and your hormones are all over the place trying to like learn how to have a period. I mean, some people are regular right from the start, but it's like honestly so common to not be regular, and you probably are gonna go through some irregularity, not just like in when you get your period, like every 2 months or like every like 3 weeks in the beginning, but also in how long your periods last, the consistency of the blood, like what color it is. Like I thought it was gonna be like a red color, and sometimes it's like the color of my shirt right now, and sometimes it's like a light pink or a light brown or like a dark brown. It varies so much in the beginning. It's just so funny because like usually everything to do with your period like will be something that you didn't expect to happen once you get your first period. And so honestly, just not expecting anything will make you feel less scared, because you'll just say to yourself, okay, I'm not expecting anything, I'm just gonna see what my body does to like adapt to having periods. And that should just really help ease your worries and like your stress, because honestly you will feel scared if you're expecting your period to be like regular and like medium flow in the beginning and then it's not. That will scare you. So to minimize fear and like just that whole scared attitude about getting your period, don't expect anything. That's one of the hugest things I needed to tell you in this video. My fifth tip, and this is something that's like a real preparation tip, like before you get your first period, is to come up with your systems. And by this I mean like your systems for when you have your period at school, what you're gonna use to track your period, what you're gonna do if you need to go swimming, and just all of that. Like come up with what you're gonna do, because your period will eventually come into your life like in an unexpected situation. Like when you have a pool party the next day, you need to know, okay, am I gonna have to cancel the pool party, or am I gonna try a tampon or like a period swimsuit or something like that? If I get it at school, what's my system gonna be? Like how am I gonna take the pad or the tampon to the bathroom? Am I gonna go to my locker first? Like really map it out ahead of time. Like you can customize it to yourself, but really map it out ahead of time. Like I'm not telling you like a definitive answer of what you need to do, but come up with what you for yourself personally need to do before you get your period. Also like with tracking it, like am I gonna use an app? Am I gonna write it down on a physical calendar? I didn't really know from the start what I was gonna do. I started writing it in a period tracker app, but then I decided to do a physical calendar, and I am still writing it down like on a physical calendar. I just recently downloaded a period tracker app, but I wish I had like more efficiently established my systems for like what I was gonna do when I was on my first period. It's just so important to come up with your system so that you feel more prepared prepared and less scared because you're like prepared. I mean, honestly, like that's the whole motto of this video: prepare so that you aren't scared. You have to come up with all of your systems so that you aren't scared when your period comes, and like you know the systems that you're gonna be following when you do get your period. This next tip is kind of similar to the last tip I just gave you guys, but it's also different in my opinion, and that is to come up with a plan for every possible first period situation. If you are watching this video, you have not yet gotten your first period, and so like you do not know what the situation is gonna be. Like a year ago today, on the day that this video is being uploaded, I had no idea I was gonna get my period at night. I had no idea I was gonna get my period at home. I had no idea that I was gonna get my period when my family was in the bathroom. If you're a returning viewer, you know that my family was actually in the bathroom when I got my first period, because like we just have like a really open family, so like they came in when I was like finishing, and that's when I got my period. But I expected my first period to be so different than it actually was. If you haven't yet gotten your period, you have like an idea like in your head of what your first period's gonna be like where you're gonna get it. You might be picturing to like get it at school or at home or something. It's called like a preconceived notion of what my first period was gonna be like, and it ended up being completely opposite. So that's why it's really important to have a plan for every possible first period situation. I mean, if you're expecting to get it at home, the chances are if you're going to school every day, you might get it at school. So you really need to come up with a plan like, okay, I got my first period at school. Am I gonna go ask for a pad from the nurse? Am I gonna like constantly pack pads in my backpack so that I'm prepared? Am I gonna like wrap toilet paper around my underwear? Am I gonna learn how to make like a DIY pad? You also need to have a plan if you get your period just like away from home, like if you're at a friend's house, or if like you're on vacation, you need to make sure that like you're always packing pads with you. You have period hygiene products available to you. You also need to plan if you're at home, like you need to have period supplies at home. Like you might think, oh, I'm gonna get my period like away from home, but I got it at home. You might get your period at home. For me, my mom actually set up like a whole period drawer like right next to our toilet that she used before I got my first period, and now I use it, and it basically has like all the period hygiene products that I will need. So it's really important to have that kind of stuff at home too in case you get your first period at home. Basically just come up with a plan for every single place or like situation where you could get your first period, so that way wherever it happens, wherever you do end up getting your first period, you are ready for that. Like if you get your first period at school, you came up with a plan on what you're gonna do if you get your first period at school. If you get your first period at home, you have a plan for what you're gonna do. Just honestly be prepared. Have these plans set ahead of time before you get your first period so that you don't feel scared when you get your first period, no matter what situation you get your first period in. My second to last tip, and this is a kind of basic tip, but it's also a really important tip that like I really need to tell you guys in this video, and that is to try to talk to someone that you know has periods before you get yours. It doesn't even have to be your mom, because like honestly I know that there's a lot of family situations where you really don't feel like you can really talk to your parents about that, or like your mother about it. My mom and I actually discussed this in a video that I did where she answers your questions about periods. I will link that video right here if you want to go check that out. But basically she said, and like I totally agree with this, it's so important to just have someone to talk to about having periods, and it's also really important to try to talk about it to your mom or like whoever is taking care of you. But if that's not possible, you should really try to find someone else who has periods, even if it's not your parent. It's just so important to like know someone that has periods and that you can talk to about it before you get yours, because it really helps you prepare. And this is because you can be on the same page with them about it, and you can also tell them when you first get it. Like if you don't feel comfortable telling your mother when you first get it, you have this person to tell. You'll also get advice on having a period, like on someone that you know personally, like not just from me, like on the internet. You'll know someone that has been experiencing periods, and you can kind of get like some personal advice on them from them. As I said, it doesn't have to be a mom. It can be a sister or an aunt or a good friend, or just anyone that you trust that you know has periods. I mean, some people have like teachers that they feel comfortable talking to about this, or like the school nurse. Everyone's different. Everyone has people in their life that they're closer to than like other people who have other people in their life that they're close with. And so just pick someone that you know has periods and really talk to them about periods before you get your first period, because it will just really help you prepare for when you get your first period, and then you won't feel scared. And the last tip for this video on how to prepare for your first period and not feel scared when you get your first period is a really important one, almost the most important one of this video, and that is do not stress about it. Before I got my first period, this is something that I personally did not do. I stressed about it so much. I was constantly thinking about like what situation, like even some days when I'd wake up I'd be like, oh my god, am I gonna get like my first period today? I was always thinking about it. I was always so stressed about it, and honestly I wish I had enjoyed the times before I got my first period. Like I really wish that I could go back and tell myself, like, you don't want to have to bleed out of your body once a month for like decades. Once you get your first period, that's it. Once you become regular, you're constantly bleeding out of your body, and it's so not fun. So just really enjoying the times that you're not on your period, and just really like relishing in those times. But then again, like don't think about it, like don't stress about it. Stress has actually been proven to hold off a period, so by stressing about it, you might actually be holding off your first period period if it's like an excessive amount of stress, and I totally sympathize. I know that it's a really stressful change and like a huge milestone in someone's life, and it causes a lot of stress and excitement, and I totally relate because I was so stressed and excited about it. A year ago today, on the day that this video is going up, I mean, I'm pre-recording this video, so I'm not like recording it on November 6th, but a year ago today, from the day that this video is going up, I had no idea I was gonna get my period that night. And the funny thing is, I wasn't thinking about it. Your first period is going to come when you least expect it, and I know that's kind of scary to tell you, and like the whole purpose of this video is to like calm you down and not scare you and like help relieve any scary like feelings you have about getting your first period. But honestly, if I'm being honest, your first period will probably come when you least expect it. It's just like the way periods work. They're just so annoying. But by just not stressing about it and letting it happen naturally, you're actually setting yourself up to feel less stressed, less scared, and more prepared when you get your first period. Anyway guys, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching it, and I really hope that this video was able to help you, because honestly, just the whole purpose of this video is to help you prepare for when you get your first period, tips and tricks to not feel scared. And honestly, if you're still scared and honestly like even a little more stressed and kind of like excited about getting your first period after watching this video, it is so normal. It's normal to be scared before you get your first period, but I can promise you one thing, that fear will go away, and getting a period will eventually just become part of your routine. It'll eventually actually become something that you like get annoyed at. Like when you become regular and the irregularity goes away and you start getting your period every month, and like you get your period, you'll just think to yourself,
oh, here we go again, this again, oh my god, this is so annoying.
But it is a huge milestone, so it's normal to have like a lot of anticipation leading up to that event. I just really hope that with this video I was able to help you kind of prepare for when you do get your first period, and to kind of minimize those scared and like excited, stressful feelings before you get your first period. So yeah, before you leave, please like this video, and if you made it to the end of this video, comment down below period preparation, because honestly that's like what this whole video was about. And also please subscribe to my YouTube channel, because as I said, I do so many other period videos, and if you haven't yet gotten your first period, you want to kind of like prepare more for your first period even after watching this one, I would highly recommend checking out my other period content that I've done in the past, and I also have a lot of other period videos planned to come out in the future, so subscribe if you want to see those and prepare for your first period even more. And yeah, that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching it, and I love you guys. Bye!